Hey there, friend. Welcome to my Tuesday. This morning I got started with getting my YouTube video up. As the weekend was a little bit different, if you watched last week's vlog or even just my quick weekend getaway to Asheville, I was a bit behind on the creative work. So with that, I wanted to make sure to start my day by getting this out before I got into a full day of work. Good morning. Not happy Monday, happy Tuesday. Why? Because, well, I didn't film anything yesterday. Coming off of a long weekend, plus being with the in-laws, which they were staying here. They left early this morning, so nobody's sitting around that door listening to me talk. But yeah, so just kind of like focused with them here, transitioning back into work. Definitely maybe interesting things to film, nothing crazy, but yeah, just like wasn't in that headspace yesterday. I feel like too, because I put up not only the vlog, but just like a quick a cute little video run through of our time in Asheville. I was trying to like edit while they were still here, but also not too much, so we were like hanging out. So anyways, all that to say, I just didn't pick up my camera yesterday, or my phone, I should say, to film. But with that, we are fully in swing with the week here. You know, going back from vacation is into a job is always hard. I mean, just back into real life in general, but usually specifically the job. And I actually just told Jesse this morning that I was really proud of myself for how I handled it, because as I'm still transitioning into a full-time job and working for somebody else, having a very set schedule, it's just different, right? Like, it's just different to be returning to that as opposed to returning to my own work. But I was really proud of myself because there were a few moments where it kind of popped in like, just like, oh no, like, you know, it's, you know, coming towards the end of the day on Sunday, you know, I think like late Saturday, I was like, oh my God, tomorrow's Sunday. That means I have to go back to work. And then at least 1 or 2 points on Sunday, I was like, oh, it's like 4 o'clock. Oh, it's like 7 o'clock. And what I did do though, instead of letting that initial thought and that trigger turn into anything, I nipped it in the bud and I was like, I ain't going there. I'm just going to enjoy my time now. I will deal with work when it comes. Monday morning at 9 o'clock is Monday morning at 9 o'clock. And it is what it is. And this is a huge, huge growth curve or a thing that I've done in my life that has dramatically improved my quality of life. So as a big thinker and deep feeler, there is a tendency to overthink. That's the curse of the big thinker piece. Yes, it's awesome to dream and to just in general think big about things, but overthinking is usually also part of the package. And so that turns into dwelling, and that turns into not being present. So for me, I used to do that all the damn time. I'd just be nervous and anxious and stressed, all those things. Whereas those things still happen, but not necessarily from the same trigger, from the same place. So yeah, that was a big one though for me as it relates to a job, because I've gotten good at this in just like general areas of my life. But as it relates to a full-time job and going to work, that is not something I've ever experienced, to just be like, oh, it's all right. And is it like a dream come true? No, it's a job. I would have stayed in the mountains forever. No, for, you know, longer, had more time to relax or hang out or whatever. But we're back to it. I feel good about how I handled it. Yesterday went by quickly, which was great. Definitely just good to like get back into things. And it just felt nice yesterday at 5 o'clock to be like, or 5:30, to be like, all right, day one in the books, transition from the vacation done. I was super, super tired and didn't feel great at one point. I was actually got concerned a little bit in the afternoon because I felt like I could have like laid my head on my desk. Like I was that tired. So between that and then my appetite wasn't normal yesterday. And so I was like, ooh, usually those two things mean I'm getting sick. I don't feel like that today. So nobody else feels sick or anything like that. Everybody's kind of just tired of being around each other. But all that said, it was a wonderful, wonderful time with them. They are on the road home now, back to the Midwest. It is still very nice now to have our own space. As much as we did enjoy the visit, like I said, I think everybody was kind of ready to get back to their norm. We have our space back. So yeah, just kind of today is going to be getting to all of the things in terms of work-wise, still getting back into things a little bit personally, now that like the full weekend to work week transition is done and people are no longer in our personal space, really be able to just get back to things. So that's what I'm thinking and feeling for today. But yeah, I'm already a little bit into my workday here, and so I don't want to dilly-dally too long. I want to get back to my work here. But yeah, I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Hey there, friend. Guess what time it is? Time is it, Finny boy? It is time for puppy class, also known as obedience training. So yeah, we are going there to Fearful Fido. We're actually going somewhere else this week. I don't know if she has like location ADD or something like that, or what, but she has us going to like a different place every week essentially. So yeah, different place tonight. I am going to be late again, this time not because I missed a turn, if you happened to see that last week and me getting pissed off, not because of that, simply because I wasn't ready to go and we left kind of late. Yeah, I worked late today, so I worked until after 6. And so by the time I ate and sat there for a few minutes, I was enjoying that. I was enjoying being able to relax and didn't want to get up and leave because I essentially have to leave at like 6:40 to be there on time, and I didn't start getting ready until 6:40, meaning that there were things that were not ready to go. So yeah, so going to be a couple minutes late. Nothing bad, but I don't want to get into a habit of this, although it does feel kind of difficult just because the way that things are bunched up in the evening, but whatever, I can make it happen. Yeah, the other notable part about this is that it is pollen season here in North Carolina, and that may not sound like a big deal, but if you are familiar, you know what I'm talking about. It's a legit thing where, and I don't really know how many states this affects, like here, but it's essentially like a month, you know, starting this past weekend, and for, you know, 4-ish weeks of just really intense pollen. And so if you have allergies to that pollen, it really sucks. It sucks, especially because it's freaking beautiful out at this time of year. So it's like when you want to be outside the most, it's actually just not great if you do have allergies or if you react to it. And so for me, I do react to it. I've never had allergies before, but here just is different, I guess, between like different kind of pollen maybe, plus just the intensity of it. But I struggle with breathing, so it's not the standard itchy eyes, runny nose type of thing. Like, my chest starts to burn, and I literally like can't breathe as easily, and it feels really shitty. Like, it's not, I don't know, it's really uncomfortable. So it's not something that I can just kind of like suck it up and like, I mean, I could, but it would be really uncomfortable because it really starts bothering me even after a matter of minutes. If I'm outside for 10 or 15 minutes. And so with this, we're outside and the classes are an hour long. So what I did last year, and I was hoping it wasn't going to bother me as much this year, but it already has. So what I did last year was just wear a mask outside. And it's super fucking annoying, but at least, I mean, it really does help. And I would rather do that than feel like crap. So, I actually messaged the instructor just to like let her know, because initially she didn't want us wearing masks with COVID stuff because she's like, your dog needs to be able to see your face. And so I was kind of anticipating her being unhappy about this or having a problem with it, but she was basically just like, the pollen sucks, it's all good. So that was good. So yeah, that's all we got going on. Work, because I got 2 more minutes here. Work-wise, today was kind of stressful, and it's helpful for me to share my life because I can start to see how much I say that. And yeah, today was just one of those days where I basically had to do something that was going to affect other people's work, and knowing that there was a good chance that it would break was stressful. And sure enough, it broke and there were issues. Was it bad? Not at all. Like, it's just part of the job. It's part of software development. While I'm not necessarily in software development, but so to speak, it's the same world. So in this space, it happens, and that's what you do. So yeah. Anyways, I feel like I handled it well, but I was just kind of like high strung. My nervous system was pinged for a good portion of the day, so I'm probably gonna end up crashing after this if it's not halfway through the class. But overall, good day. And gotta be honest, I don't really want to be going here tonight. I would have rather stayed at home and just hung out, but it'll be nice to get to be outside, get to be with my buddy here, and I'm sure I will be very happy that I went afterwards. So, all right, with 1 minute to spare, I'm gonna log off, and time for class. Obedience class ended up going very well with Finn. I ended up enjoying it. It was great to be outside and be focused on doing something else and connecting with my animal. Finn did really well, and I've been really proud of him so far, and proud of us, because it's time and energy, and it's not easy. It can be frustrating, but it ended up being really nice. So I came home, got everything cleaned up so I could relax. Hey there, friend. Welcome to my Thursday. An early start to the morning. If you remember, I mentioned that yesterday was a bit stressful. Some things were kind of breaking that I was working on, and I got a message from my boss that I should get my changes in ASAP. So I didn't want to do anything late last night. I knew that I would work better and be more clear-headed in the morning, so I decided to get started early. Logged in quite a bit earlier than I normally do. I just kind of threw a sweatshirt on here to get comfortable, and as you can see,
just kind of started getting myself set up. It's very important for me to get my space set in such a way that I can go into things in a very calm, clear-headed manner. I actually kind of enjoyed working before everybody else was online because I knew that I wasn't going to be getting interrupted, and therefore it made it easy for me to focus on what I needed to do. As well as my brain just works better in the morning, early in the day, before there's any fatigue or I feel too overwhelmed. Once I finished up what I wanted to, and before I ate a meal, and before people started logging on, I got up and did a little bit of movement. Movement is a way for me to not only energize myself, but to kind of release some of the adrenaline or any type of anxiety or stress that builds. What I'm doing here is actually Qigong. It probably looks a little bit funny if you're not familiar, especially here as I'm just hitting myself. When it comes to movement and modalities, I really just like to try things and figure out what feels best for me. So it's less about what it says the benefits are and more about just really feeling into what works for me and my body. This particular flow of Qigong is one that is very simple and, albeit a little bit strange, one that I actually really, really love. Deep breathing is just such a good way to come back to our bodies and to start to regulate our nervous systems, especially when paired with gentle, intentional movement. I didn't just stick with the Qigong, I threw in just a little bit of yoga here, and again, really just things that I know work for my body. Finn is rather confused and or curious, trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Do I play with Dad? Do I lay down next to him? Do I watch him? Getting in my downward dog next to my dog. And you can tell I really entered a Zen state here, reached that because I really had no concept of him and where he was around me. I was just really enjoying the movement and the breathing. And finally decided to bring that to an end by just creating some stillness and breathing. Good morning, friend. Here we are. It's Thursday. It's crazy that it's Thursday. I was thinking about this last night and I was like, holy crap, tomorrow is Thursday. We're already on the back half of the week, which is kind of a good feeling coming off of like vacation, coming back into work and being like, oh, well, the weekend's, kind of there already. Not that I like to live my life in a working for the weekend way. I don't. But it's nice to know that we're coming up to some more free space again. So yeah, was kind of my first takeaway. It was just, wow, it's Thursday. Yeah, I think I've shared a little bit so far, but early start for me today. Kind of a stressful day yesterday. Just urgency stuff. That's the thing that, excuse me, I'm really going to have to, this food, I ate my oatmeal and now I'm burping and clearing my throat and all the things. But the urgency thing is, one, a part of work, but especially part of any type of software development, anything in that world really. So that's something I'm gonna have to get used to because currently my nervous system hates that. Doesn't feel good for me. I didn't have any urgent stuff when I was working for myself. Like, it just wasn't a nature of my business. And if there was anything ever that was urgent, I didn't have anybody over me kind of being like, hey, let's go. I wanted to get it done, but it wasn't something that came up a lot. So it wasn't something that I've had to really deal with much. So yeah, and I knew that was going to be part of the transition here, but that's definitely the case where my nervous system is just not used to that. And so what I mean by that is that as soon as I get a sense of urgency, whether it's I know that something has to get done or somebody tells me that something has to get done, it immediately kind of like, it's like, you know, if you're holding like a loose t-shirt or something like that or a rag and you like wring it together, like that's what happens. And I just immediately feel tension in my body. My brain starts racing a little bit. It's like, you get this kind of adrenaline rush, but this is the type of thing that while it might help a little bit in the moment to have that adrenaline rush, it's also not a good sustainable thing because like if you're doing that on a regular basis, at least your body's going to have the effects of that. And over time, you're going to get worn down, feel burnt out, like all that stuff. So I'm just kind of noting that. I'm not really concerned about it at this point, but I definitely noticed it. And I am happy with how, I think I mentioned this yesterday too. I was like happy with how I handled it. I'm feeling pretty good about it today too. My day, again, I think I've shared most of it here, but it's like getting up early, pretty much getting to work right away, and then moving my body, giving myself a little bit of space when I kind of completed what I wanted to complete. Also knowing that there's a good amount more stuff to come today. Like that was one push, but there's still going to be a couple iterations of things that need to get done. So managing my energy throughout here. So it's like I was okay to wake up and make a push, but over the past half hour, I've taken a little bit of time to go slow. Like I said, I've shared some of my movement. I made my food, I ate, and now I came down a little bit. I am a little bit tired now. Think that like adrenaline rush to my day is hitting me a little bit, but now I have energy to go on with the rest of the day, as opposed to like if I didn't give myself any of that space, then it would be much harder. So for big thinkers and deep feelers, whether it's with work or just life in general, energy management is really at the foundation of what we need to do to live our best lives, because a lot of times we feel drained, we feel overwhelmed, we just feel like maybe we're not doing enough, or we feel bad about ourselves. We just feel like we're kind of overstimulated. And so managing our energy is simply about acknowledging what we need, what our body needs, what our mind needs, what our soul needs, and giving that to ourselves, because we ultimately are the ones that give ourselves permission to have that. It is our job to give ourselves what we need. So the first step is acknowledging that, seeing it for what it is, understanding it. That's a whole thing in and of itself. It takes a lot of practice. And then the next step is to actually give ourselves that, and to not think that everything else or others are more important than our needs. So this is something that I could go on and on about. It's something that I have taught before, but with my transition to YouTube and out of coaching, one of the things that I want to do, I'll have some courses created and stuff like that in the future, but even for now, I really want to start sharing some of this stuff via video so I can do it naturally here. But ideally, I would also have kind of like an energy management 101 that I can point you to and be like, hey, go check out this video. You'll get the rundown. So just know that I'm working on it. I got it in my brain hole, but we got other things going on. We got real work that I'm committed to. So yeah, anyways, I'm rambling a little bit now. But yeah, that's the start of my day here. Thursday. I've got no meetings today. I'm sure I'll end up jumping in to talk to people about stuff that's going on today. So I'm not expecting my calendar to stay clear. Those things are totally okay because it's just collaboration as opposed to like sitting through some boring meeting that doesn't really mean anything to me. So it should be good from a work perspective today. We're supposed to get crazy storms today, ones that have been going through the south. So yeah, ran around with the dogs a little bit early this morning. Probably no walks or anything later. And then tonight, I don't think I have anything going on tonight either. I feel like maybe there is, but I haven't looked at my calendar to confirm that, so I'll have to do that. But otherwise, we're just out here working. Before I dive fully into work here and turn my phone off and all that good stuff, check it out. Look what I'm wearing. Oh, look at that. That, my friends, is a Beacon Donut. It's official. Because my cousin visited last week, he brought us our swag that I've been waiting for. Andrew, no, I'm just playing, dude. Yeah, really excited to get these. I feel like I can finally rep a thing that I helped birth into the world, and I'm not a big part of these days, but it still means a lot to me, and I still, whenever I see it or observe it or hear about it, talk to my family about it, all that stuff just still, I feel really connected to it, and I love it. So the fact that I can actually rep that now is super cool. Thank you, Andrew. Love you, dude. We ended up getting a tornado warning at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I quickly logged off of work. It was a little bit scary because we were directly in the path of what they were showing. There were some rotations, so it was pretty nerve-wracking, especially because this is one of Jesse's worst, most anxiety-producing fears. Eventually, though, after about 20 minutes, we did get out of it, and it did happen to miss us. So grateful to be okay, just a little bit more excitement than we bargained for. Well, here we are on Saturday morning. Yes, we skipped Friday this week. Not by design, but because I simply didn't film anything. I went to get out my camera at one point early in the afternoon and something else came up, and I never got back to it. Essentially, Friday just ended up being a heavy work day. I had some stuff that I really wanted to wrap up by end of day and by end of week. I spent a lot of time doing that. I ended up working late. I was a bit high-strung again. So yeah, I'm noticing this pattern, which I'm not super excited about. And I'm really going to have to work on it. It's something that is coming about because I am finally getting some real responsibility and I'm finally being expected to get things done. And this is not something that's going to change. So I really want to work on my relationship to those things, and with that pressure, as I've mentioned, I just really want to get better at it, and quite frankly, I need to in order for this to be sustainable. So with that, I did end up doing a great job of letting it go on Friday evening and transitioning into the weekend in a way that felt really good to me. What you've been watching here is me sitting here and editing my video from the week, and yeah, really just kind of hanging out with the pups before Jesse's out of bed. Made myself that nice smoothie and really just enjoying a slow start to my morning. And here we are, finishing off the day with some nice vegan tacos. Thanks for hanging out.
and I'll see you next week.